When talent meets the cruelest streak of misfortune imaginable, you get Josh Berry's 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoff nightmare, and it's painful to watch unfold. Picture this. You're a rookie driver who just scored your first Cup Series victory and look destined for greatness. Then, in the span of 3 crucial races, everything that could possibly go wrong does go wrong, ending your championship dreams before they even had a chance to breathe. That's exactly what happened to Josh Berry, and veteran driver Denny Hamlin just dropped some brutally honest commentary about it that might surprise you. Let's rewind to when Berry's season was still a fairy tale story. The Wood Brothers racing driver, piloting the iconic number 21 Ford in his debut Cup Series campaign, had NASCAR fans buzzing with excitement. His 4th-place finish at Phoenix Raceway in March was impressive enough, but when he followed that up with a victory at Las Vegas Motor Speedway the very next week, Berry looked like he might be the breakout star of 2025. But here's where it gets absolutely heartbreaking. Everything that followed Berry's early season success reads like a masterclass in how quickly motorsports can humble even the most promising talent. The NASCAR Cup Series playoffs operate on a knockout format, where drivers must advance through multiple rounds to reach the championship finale. Think of it like March Madness, but with 200-mile-per-hour stock cars and millions of dollars on the line. For Berry and his number 21 team, the round of 16 became their personal house of horrors. Consider the sheer brutality of Berry's playoff elimination. He managed to finish dead last in every single round of 16 race.
That's not just bad luck. That's the kind of statistical improbability that makes you question whether the racing gods have a personal vendetta against someone. The disasters started immediately at Darlington Raceway, the playoff opener. Berry found himself caught up in a wreck on the very first lap, before he could even settle into a rhythm or show what his car was capable of. Racing incidents on lap 1 are particularly frustrating because they often involve multiple cars and leave drivers with no opportunity to recover points or showcase their speed. Then came Gateway, where Berry's misfortune took on a more personal dimension. Chase Elliott, a former Cup Series champion and one of NASCAR's most popular drivers, spun Berry on lap 36. While racing incidents are part of the sport, getting taken out by another driver adds an element of frustration that mechanical failures simply don't carry. You can't help but wonder what might have been if Berry had been left to race his own race.
And this is the part most people missed about Saturday's Bristol night race finale. Berry's elimination didn't come from a crash, a mechanical failure, or even poor performance. Instead, his number 21 Ford literally caught fire on Kit Road, forcing his crew to physically extract him from the cockpit in what witnesses described as a terrifying scene. Imagine training your entire life for moments like these, only to have your championship hopes literally go up in smoke through no fault of your own. Enter Denny Hamlin, the 3-time Daytona 500 winner and one of NASCAR's most outspoken personalities. During Monday's episode of his Actions Detrimental podcast, Hamlin offered a perspective that might spark some heated debate among racing fans.
"Man, Josh Berry, that's a tough way to go," Hamlin reflected, before dropping this controversial take. "I don't know. Is it tougher to go that way, or is it tougher to be in it and then out?
I would just rather be out of it at the beginning than have it swept away with 10 laps to go in the elimination race." Now, here's where Hamlin's comments get really interesting and potentially controversial. Hamlin specifically addressed Berry's Darlington crash, acknowledging that while Berry did screw up, the veteran driver refused to place full blame on the rookie. "I don't put that on him, because it's hard to control a car that only has 3 tires on the ground, and when he hit that bump, that's all he had," Hamlin explained. This kind of public defense from a seasoned competitor speaks volumes about how the garage area views Berry's situation. But is Hamlin right about preferring early elimination over late heartbreak? This raises a fascinating psychological question about competitive sports. Some athletes might argue that fighting until the bitter end, even if it results in devastating late elimination, provides valuable experience and demonstrates championship heart. Others might agree with Hamlin that getting knocked out early by circumstances beyond your control is preferable to losing a championship with victory seemingly within reach. The numbers tell Berry's story in stark, unforgiving detail. Heading into Bristol, he sat 45 points below the cut line,
essentially needing a miracle combination of his own strong finish and others' misfortune to advance. In NASCAR's playoff format, being that far behind with limited races remaining is like trying to climb Mount Everest while carrying a refrigerator. What makes Berry's situation even more compelling is his own assessment of these brutal few weeks. Rather than making excuses or pointing fingers, Berry demonstrated remarkable maturity in his post-elimination comments. "Man, it's been a tough couple of weeks, but it hasn't been because of performance. These guys have been doing a good job, definitely not the way we wanted our first round to go.
We felt like we executed well and ran well, just haven't had the finishes." That quote reveals something crucial that casual fans might overlook. Berry and his team weren't struggling with speed or execution. They were simply victims of racing's most cruel mistress, timing. Sometimes in motorsports, you can do everything right and still lose spectacularly. Berry's final words carried the weight of unfulfilled potential. "This is going to be a tough one to watch." That was going to be a lot of fun. For a driver who had tasted victory earlier in the season, watching the playoffs continue without him represents the kind of what-if scenario that can haunt competitors for years. But here's the question that might divide NASCAR Nation. Does Berry's elimination represent the harsh reality of racing, where the best drivers find ways to overcome adversity? Or does it highlight fundamental flaws in a playoff system that can eliminate deserving contenders through no fault of their own? Should NASCAR consider format changes that better account for circumstances beyond drivers' control, or is the current high-stakes, unforgiving system exactly what makes the sport so compelling? What do you think? Is Denny Hamlin right that early elimination through bad luck is preferable to late heartbreak? Or would you rather fight until the bitter end regardless of the outcome? And more controversially, does Josh Berry's playoff disaster expose problems with NASCAR's knockout format? Or is this simply the price of admission to championship-level competition? Let's hear your take in the comments below.